Hello, so I wanted to show you the Betfair Trading Community football software, and I got a really good question this week asking me how you could set up a filter that looks for games where there's not many goals in the first 10 minutes, but then the teams tend to have a first half goal. Now, as the caveat I always say with these filters, with these strategies, is I'm going to create one right now. The next process would be to test the filter and see whether it worked. But I'm going to show you the ideas that you could have for a filter or a strategy like this. Okay, so starting out, the first thing you're going to want to look at, obviously, is looking for teams that don't have many goals early. Okay, so for that, we're just going to use overall. I'm going to look at percentage, and we're going to look at goals 0 to 10. Okay, and we're going to select less than or equal to. Now here's where you can just basically decide which percentage you'd like to use. Obviously, you're going to want something where a lot of the goals don't come in the first 10 minutes. I'd probably suggest something around 10% here, but again, this is something that you can test. You could vary. You could actually do a couple of filters and kind of split test them if you wish. But just for this idea, for now, I'm going to put 10. I might change this if no selections come up because it might be that it's too short, but we'll see. Okay, so we click add, and that adds that. Lovely jubbly. Okay, so for the second stat subject here, what I'm just simply going to look for is quite a high proportion of first half goals. So again, we're going to go overall percentage, and then I'm going to look for first half goals over 0.5 half one. So here it is, half one over 0.5. So that means that they get a first half goal. And again here, the percentage, this is where you can basically decide which percentage you want to do. So I'm going to be quite ambitious here, and I'm going to go for greater than or equal to 70%. Now this might be too high. So what's interesting there is it will be good to see whether that's the case. Is this too high or not? I don't know. Now, for the final stat subject, I'm actually going to put overall again, and I'm going to go for total this time. And we go all the way down, scroll all the way down to matches played. And then I'm going to select greater than or equal to 8, and that means that the teams will have played 8 matches this season. And I'll show you in a minute why this season. Okay, so we finished with the filters themselves. Now we need to look at the little boxes here. I'm not going to do anything with the leagues. I'm going to do tomorrow or earlier. I'm going to have that I want all the criteria to match. The cool thing here is if you only wanted, it to be 1 out of the 2 criteria, you could do that. That's a really cool feature we have. Scope, I'll do last 10 matches. A lot of people have been having success with last 5 matches. Some people like to use last 20. Again, that's up to you. I'm going to restrict to current season. I'm going to restrict to going in play because this would be an in-play strategy. You would effectively be going for a first half goal after 10 minutes. I'll exclude playoffs. And I'm just going to call it FHG, first half goal after 10. Okay? Now, before I bring up the selections, if there are any that pop up, if the filter's not too specific, what I will say again is, because some people don't get this when I post these, is that this is very much an idea of what you could do with the stats to find a particular strategy that you're interested in, as someone has requested on the forum. Now, when you get the selections that it shows, that is not saying that these selections will definitely have a first half goal. Okay, what you've got to think about is looking a little bit more in depth at the match and decide whether that's a trade you want to make. Best way to do that, easiest way to do that is to just test it. Okay, I'll show you a bit how to do that for the end bit of the video. Okay, so if we click save, that will then save the filter, and hooray, we've got loads of selections for today and tomorrow. As you can see, actually 9 lots of selections. So you might want to tighten it up a bit. You might actually want to make your criteria thinner. You might want to go for games where, like this Mannheim game, where there's 5% or less in the first 10 minutes, and then look at criteria 2 maybe being 75% plus or whatever. Again, you can see what your criteria are, by the way, if you get confused by this. So I know that criteria 1, okay, that's my first criteria, overall goals 0 to 10. And then the second one is over 0.5 first half goals. and then this is the match that's played. Okay, so we can see that actually, again, these all fit into what we asked for, which is great. So this is an idea of what you could do for that filter. Now the next question, of course, is, well, where would you go from there? How would you start testing? Well, the easiest way to do that is just to export. So if you click export, that will actually bring you up, as you can see here, the CSV file. You can copy that into a Google Sheet or whatever. That's just basically got the selections on it. And my suggestion would be record the results of the matches and see what works and what doesn't, and look at the criterias. You know, after you've got a few hundred results, have a look, and it won't take you that long with this many selections. Have a look. Is it that 75% works better? Does it have a better strike rate? You know, does it have a better chance of winning? Or is it that actually it doesn't matter and 70's fine? Have a look at that stuff and figure out what works. Again, I'm not saying that these selections on the screen, I'm really going to emphasize this a lot because people get very confused because they're like, but, you know, Martin, you do these videos helping us learn to use the software, but you're not giving us tips. No, this isn't a tipping thing. We're not a tipping service. This is very much all about looking at software to help you filter out your selections and help you create your own strategies for making money trading on Betfair. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want to talk further, just comment. Let me know if you liked it, like and subscribe to the channel and all those good things. But most importantly of all, I really want you to look at the software. If it's something you're interested in, come and have a look over at Betfair Trading Community. Obviously, it's something that thousands and thousands of people have used over the years and had success with, and I know that you can too.